Shannon.
Hi, if you're just joining us, today we're doing our book club with Mr. Denorival Parks, author of Sheltered Again. Mr. Parks wrote his first book called Sheltered, that focused on his experience living in the public shelter system while raising 3 sons. 6 years after leaving the shelter, he found himself homeless again, which led to his second book, Sheltered Again. We would like to welcome Mr. Parks to the show.
Hello, Mr. Parks. How are you?
Hi, everyone.
So this is your second book,
This is my
Sheltered
second book.
Again.
Yes, it is.
And the first book talked about your experiences with your 3 sons
Right.
in the shelter at that time.
Right.
Now you got out, you got your apartment and everything. Everything was going good.
All right.
What happened this time? What happened to bring you back to
What
this
happened?
situation again?
I was living with a girlfriend of mine. I had got out of the shelter the first time. I moved to the Bronx. I met a young lady, and we shacked up. And I just wanted to get to know her. So we left the Bronx. We moved to Queens. She got a job because I wanted to get to know her. So I feel that you have to live with the person to get to know them. She got a job. She helped me pay some of the bills. Things didn't work out. She wasn't the person who I thought she was. So we broke up. I got stuck with her bills, her side of the bills, because I paid all the rent. She bought the food and took care of the electric bills and things like that. I had a budget. So that didn't fit into my budget. I had to pay her half of the bills. I fell behind in my rent, stuff like that, because I had 3 boys. Mm-hmm. I still had to take care of my boys and pay for their needs. And I fell behind in my rent, got further and further behind in my rent. Me and the landlord wasn't getting along too well, and she wanted me out. And I wound up going back into the shelter system.
So now when you went back into the shelter, okay, you took your 3 sons with you at that time?
No, there were 2 sons this time.
2 sons.
My oldest son went to stay with his mother. She was having her physical issues. So I told him, regardless of how we're getting along, that's your mother. You only get one mother. So I told them, being that you're the oldest son, and I try to teach my boys to be men, being that you're the oldest son, it's your job to go back and take care of your mother. So he went back to stay with his mother at the time being, and I went into the shelter with 2 of my sons.
And what kind of effect did this have on your sons? Because I know with children moving, sometimes in the shelter or moving just with some other relative, whatever, being separated, from their parent, and then they have to go to school. The traveling might be not convenient for them to travel. How did the children handle this? Being that it was the second time around.
Right. Being that it was their second time around, they kind of handled it a little more smoothly than the first time. But the first time they were younger, so they really didn't feel the effects of it too much. The second time, they wasn't pleased about it. They weren't happy about it at all. Now, I wasn't happy. I didn't feel like I was doing my job as a man and as a single father who wanted to raise these boys. So, they was giving us the runaround in the shelter system. They put you here, they put you there, and if you don't, you're not qualified for whatever, then they send you back to path and all that. So I didn't want to take my boys through that again.
Now, with your boys being in the shelter the second time, did it affect their education, their schooling?
Being in a shelter always affects a child's education, always, because they're doing a lot of. It did affect theirs. Yes, it did. But any child in general, it's going to affect their education because they're doing a lot of running around. Their mind is not focused. They have to deal with the confusion and anarchy that's going on in the shelter system. A lot of hatred going on, a lot of anger.
How long were you in the shelter the second time?
I was in there I was only there for like maybe 2.5 months. I wasn't there for a long time.
Okay.
Without, spoiling what's in the book, you made a decision to take your sons and have them to stay with their mother. I mean, what ultimately made you make that decision? You had them all this time, and then, you decided, okay, you can, go live with your mother at this point.
Right. because I didn't want them to continue to go through what they were going through at that time, of the system just dragging us around and doing what they felt they wanted to. And like she said, the schooling, it started to affect their schooling. So I didn't want that, because I'm big on schools. And my boys will tell you, we could do another show on that, my boys will tell you that, that is, it's all about school. So it started to affect their schooling. So I got my two boys together, after the system sent us back to path, and I asked them what they wanted to do. And they went into a little corner, and they did their little meeting thing. They came back, they said, Dad, we'd rather go stay with Mom. And, that's when I became homeless.
I just want to couple back on what Tiffany was saying. Since they had a mother involved in their life, was there a difficult decision to make at that time to have them live with her instead of going to the?
It was a difficult decision to make. It was a difficult decision to make, because I didn't want, I love my boys. You know what I mean? I didn't. It was hard for me to part from them, but it was something that I had to do because of the schooling, like your question was, and because of the psychological part of it, of them being confused and going through arguments and stuff like that with other people. So I know it was easy. It was easy to make that decision of telling them to go to their mothers and staying there until Daddy got on his feet.
Now, at the first time you was in the shelter for 6 years, correct?
No, the first time I was in the shelter, no. I got it. The time interval from the time that I left this first shelter until the time I went back again was about 7 years, approximately. I'm sorry, what was your question?
At that time, when you went to the shelter the first time, was that decision ever thought of?
Of to do what?
To let them stay with their mother instead of putting them in
No.
No, okay.
No. I always want my boys close by me, because I'm the best person to raise my boys.
Okay.
And I know it's best for them, and no one's going to raise my boys. My two oldest sons right now, they're going to college. One wants to be a music producer, and the other one is going for child psychology right now. So I just got the baby right now, and I'm sending him to school for art. He wants to be an artist. So he's going to school for art. So I'm the best person to raise my kids. I know what direction I want them to go in, and whatever it is that they want to do, I'm going to be there to make sure that they go in the direction that they want to go in.
That's good.
So,
Not a lot of people have been through the public shelter system.
right.
Can you tell